All right, I'm going to attempt this and we'll see if I have to re-record it or what. But what I'm doing is I'm adding, it is, it's a little bit stronger than 1-to-1. Get all my ducks in a row. It's a little bit stronger than 1-to-1 syrup, and it's not as strong as 2-to-1. So this is, I have a little bit of cotton pounds left. The other one, the one beside them, is not. So, but they're getting it. And I'm gonna add. This is my feeder. We bought them years ago, going back to them because they give them a trickle feed. And what I want to do, that one beside me had 5 frames of brood, and I don't want to break everything up, but I see there's brood there, and there's brood there, and there. So that's at least 3, and that's good. This isn't as big a colony as the other one, but I'm going to, actually I could probably, I should have just left that on, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my jug here, but when you flip it over, it's going to run, so I always flip it over and let it run out until it stops. I don't know if you can see it because I can't see the camera, but then I'm going to put it right there, and I'm going to make sure that it's not over the brood area. So that way, if it does leak, it'll just leak down there and then it'll run out. But then, because, you know, this is a single deep, well, it doesn't matter if it's a single deep or whatever, but you need to put a protector on it so the other bees do not know that it's in there. So, not sure if you can see that, but yeah, and then I'll probably just put this in there just so I'll have it, but it'll follow through with them. Maybe I might use material instead of that, but that's it. Now they're in there feeding, and then I'll bundle them up like they were. Now they have this empty box on top, and if it was going to really stay cold and cold and cold, I wouldn't do that. But it's going to be nice for they'll have that feed done shortly, and then I can come back and take it off and hopefully go through them and, you know, evaluate and see what they do have. But here's some sticks that I can use. I heard it cracking. Nope, it's not gonna now that I want them to. But we can move on and do the next one. But I went through and dumped out all my frames, and so I could have the empty boxes. But here, we'll do this one. And see if I can get it set up. I see me, so I'm hoping that you can see it. But yeah, so we'll. Here's my box. There's my smoker. Here's this, so I can drain into it. Oh, that's a nice hive too. This is the only second time I've seen them. I evaluated them when I put the pollen patty on. All right. So looking good, girls. Now I'm going to smoke them so I can look down in there and see. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, and I think that's it. And this could have eggs, but I'm not gonna look. So I'm gonna leave this and use that as a a lifter, and oh, I didn't get my feed. So here's my feed, and I don't know if you can see that, but they are lined. Michael Palmer uses these, so I'm gonna drain it off, and it's already stopped basically. Of course, I just did some more with my fingers, but if I put it here, then you know it's not going to hurt anything, like I said, if it leaks. So now I'm going to put my cover on it, and that just is their added protection. That's all it's on there for. There's a little snail. The bee came up to smell that and showed me that there was a snail, and didn't really mean to kill it, but I squashed it anyway. But yeah, I'm just going to do that just to have a place to store it, and then add my lid, and then I'll write on it. You know, I'm trying to get done. I have to go pick up the grandkids pretty soon, so always something, right? Always something. So, oh, this one didn't have, yeah, I'll put this one on. But that, feeding this light, I have learned, because I've always been oh, don't feed anything but 2 to 1. Why are you wasting, why are you doing that? And then they have to, dehydrate it, and it takes more energy. But I've done a little bit more research this year, and Bob Benny, he strongly believes, you can go to YouTube, but he strongly believes that feeding them trickled feed like this, then it helps them with getting hydrogen peroxide into their hive, which will disinfect and help them grow healthier, instead of feeding them 2 to 1, which they would just store and not idolize. But it's a 1.25 to 1 or something like that. But it's I won't get into that, but anyway, they sip on that and they get such little things. It's just like going out to the nectar source, and so they're bringing in this nectar through the hive, and it stimulates, it gives them wax, which I never need, in my brood boxes. I never need frames, drawn out. So I'm way beyond that. But if you do need them to be drawn out, then that's what you need. You need a 1.25 to 1. And I hope I'm doing that right. But anyway, it stimulates them to make wax, and then to draw, and also to start rearing brood. So yeah, I don't know. I'll pop around there and see. Well, I better just do it now. Yeah. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see them down there. Another nice hive. So the ones that I had to make it through, they are becoming really nice hives. Now this one is eating almost all of its pollen, Patty. There's what's left. So I will scrape that off and put it in there. But yeah, so I'm going to smoke them and see if I can see the frames of brood. Yep, I see some. I was going to say, there's some drone brood down in there. I was say I might have to see if there's a queen, but there's plenty of brood. It could have already hatched, and she's got it laid up again, I hope. But get my little bucket. There's my bucket. it stops. And you cannot do this with warm syrup. Why do I remember that? Because I just made some and then tested it before I left the house, and it was like, oh yeah, that's too hot. So it just poured out like a water hose. Alrighty then. And I'm not going to scrape that off. I'm just going to hold it there and put it back on, and they can consume it that way. Yeah, I put that pollen patty on the 22nd, and this is what, the 31st, and I gave a pretty good chunk. So, and I brought more over, but I would say with them raising brood and stuff that they have, well, I have dry pollen out there in a tree, but I would say they're not using it. And I've lost my... There we go. That's the thing with ratchet straps, but I'll tell you what, they have saved a lot of my hives. Either the stand broke or bear attack or what, you know, whatever the case may be. But and I'll take these off probably once April gets here. Sometimes, well, this is in Elkins and they don't get snow like I do, but the ones over at my house, I will probably just have to watch the weather and see about that. So now this one, it'll take me a little longer, but this winter that box down there is empty. It has frames in it, and so I will take that one off, and then I emptied this box, so I'll put that on top and put this one down on the bottom, and then I will you know, fix their entrance like that, because I don't know, I will at least do the wrap, because I don't want them all the way open yet, because they're, you know, might be robbing and stuff like that. But yeah, there's the jar, or the paint cans waiting on me, and they're not normal paint cans. They're coated. You know, if you're interested, I can tell you, you know, later, because then I'll have to ask my husband. It's like, what are they coated with? And because we bought them years ago, had them up in the barn, and came home and started listening to Bob Benny again, and lo and behold, yeah, he uses buckets on top. I don't like that. I like them secure in here, so that way, you know, there's no robbing whatsoever. Maybe if it leaks out and it drips there, then, you know, other bees come in and do that. But the guard bees, especially these nice big hives, that's all they'll get is what's on the ground. So, all right, till next time.